Jay.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for talking to us today.
So good to see your beautiful face.
So good to see you. How was your weekend?
I had a really good weekend this weekend. It was really nice. You know what I did? For the first time since quarantine in the last 2 months, I ordered takeout
Oh,
from my favorite restaurant. I've been cooking for the last 2 months. I used to also work at this restaurant. You would know it as Houston's, but
yeah.
out here it's called South Beverly Grill. So
Okay.
yeah, so I treated myself to a nice meal from Houston's, and
Ooh, that
yeah,
sounds good.
yeah, and I had some dope meditation sessions this weekend. My little nephew came and visited me with his mom and her
Oh,
dad. Brought me a cupcake, brought the dog. We had a nice little visit. So it was a beautiful weekend. How about you?
low key, super low key. I took my
Yeah.
braids out because I needed to have I had self care. That's what I did this weekend. It was all about self
Nice.
care.
Oh, fantastic.
And look forward to talking to you this Monday morning. I was like, yeah, I get to talk to Jay. I always like talking to you.
I always love talking to you too. I'm so glad we got this worked out.
I know. So, Jay, we first spoke about the show back in January, remember, at the NBC TCAs, and you and the cast kind of broke it down for us what the show was about.
Yes.
How are you feeling now that it's out in the world? We're on episode 3 this week. How are you feeling?
I'm so happy. I'm so happy people finally are getting to see it. The response has been pretty universal. This will be my 6th series now, and live tweeting, you get the real. People
Yeah.
give you the real. People are not shy about their opinions, and so people who made it through the entire episode, like universally, they're like, "Oh my God, this show is so moving, it's so touching." We thought it would be, so it's so happy, it's so glad. I'm glad to see that other people feel the same way about it because we really put our hearts and souls into this show. So it's nice to see that is being felt.
Definitely. So Jay, obviously I'm going to get into cancel. I have so many questions about it, but I want to kind of go
Yes.
back a little bit. I always like to go back because I feel like there's a backstory to, the people that we see on TV, like yourself. There's like
Yeah.
a backstory to how you got to where you are, right?
Yeah.
So you're from Maryland,
That's
and
right.
your mom, I know we talked about your mom is a teacher, right?
Yeah, she was an educator. Yeah.
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 What were your career aspirations growing up? Like, did you want to be an actor growing up?
I only corrected you and say educator only because what her passion was English as a second language because my family is from Panama. So she coordinated programs in the city of DC for kids who English was their second language. So just to, pay respect and be specific because I know that
Yes.
was, her passion. She's no longer with us, but,
Yes.
just want to represent my mama properly.
As you should.
As
Yes.
we should. Yes, ever since I sat in front of a television, I wanted to crawl inside of it. I was so clear about what I wanted to do with my life as a child. My uncle, who never was clear about what he wanted to do, still to this day as a profession, used to always say to me, even as a kid, "How do you know?" And I was just like, "I just know. I want to be in TV." So yeah, I mean, I first got in TV, on TV when I was like 13, 14, 13. I did Prince George's County public access TV show about Ebenezer Scrooge. What is that called? A Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
And then at 15, I was on the Cosby Show. So I was clear about who I was, what I wanted, and pursued it.
Now, you're not going to just skip past that. You know that, right? The Cosby Show.
I know.
Because, yes, please tell us about how that all came about. Because you played Vanessa's boyfriend, I believe it was, on the show.
Yes, yes.
Tell us how that even came about. Because it was it's a fun story. So I want to share it with people.
I'm always talking about the importance of seeing people of color on television because people will never understand how when you see yourself or who you want to be reflected in art and in media, it wakes you up. It makes you come alive. At that point, there were very few Black folks I was seeing on TV. I mean, there was a good number, there was Sanford and Son, the Jeffersons, Different Strokes, those type of shows. But when I saw the Cosby Show, I was like, that's a show that I could be on.
Yeah.
So I always saw the credits at the end of the show, and I was like, I guess those must be the people who put the show together. I guess there's got to be somebody who puts the actors on. So I saw one that said casting director, and I was like, that sounds like the person that would put the actors on. I called information, and at that time, you just had to dial the area code of the city you were looking for, 555-1212. So the New York City area code is 212. So I figured, okay, they shoot in New York. I dialed 212-555-1212, asked for the casting director's phone number. His name was Barry Moss. Long story short, I ended up getting the number, and I called his office. Mind you, I'm living in Maryland. Called his office. I was like, hi, my name is Jamie Richards, and I want to be on the Cosby Show. And they were like, kid, what are you talking about? That's not how it works. You know, hung up the phone on me. I kept calling. And one day he accidentally picked up the phone. And I said, hello, may I speak to Barry Moss? My name is Jamie Richards. I want to be on the Cosby Show. And he was like, kid, what are you doing? This is not how it works. I'm going to be in an acting camp in New York. Come up to that acting camp, hear me talk, and you can learn about the business. Long story short, I went to the acting camp, met him, read for him. He said, if you're ever in New York, give me a call. The very next Monday, I flew to New York. My mom gave me the money. I flew to New York. I knocked on his door. I said, I'm here. And he goes, I didn't mean fly here. But he was like, but actually, we happen to be casting the role of Vanessa's boyfriend, and you might be right for it. So I read for that role, and I got it.
Wow. I love that story because it shows how you don't have to necessarily go like the traditional routes of getting a job, right? There are ways where you can like figure out how to put yourself out there like you did, right?
Right. And that was my first job in life. So,
yes.
Yeah.
I love that. And so you went on after the Cosby Show to have this impressive career. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., we're going to get into that. Jay, what have you learned about your journey thus far? I mean, you've been around in the business for over 20 years. What have you learned? I mean, I know it's a lot.
Yeah. The thing, one of many things that I've learned is, you know, really only the work can save you. Mm-hmm. There's so many things that are outside of your control in this business that really the work is your ultimate trump card. Right. They can want Michael B. Jordan, Angela Bassett, whoever. They can want the name. Mm-hmm. But if you come in there and you bring somebody's words to life in a way that they never could have possibly imagined, if you can do that caliber of work, that is your ultimate trump card that can get you from where you are to where you want to be. But you have to know what the work is, because I think a lot of people don't even know what it means to work hard as an actor. I didn't know what it meant until I met Erica Sal and Michael Beach. You know, they really taught me what it meant to work hard as an actor. And I've been working hard up until that point. But so that's the thing that I've learned the most, is that the work is the only thing that will save you.
You guys, Angel, the cast of Angel, such a hit show, on for 5 seasons. You guys reunited last year. How was that? And why do you think people love that show so much?
So reuniting with everybody was dope. We reunited at New York City Comic-Con for our 20th anniversary. We also reunited for the cover of Entertainment Weekly magazine. And, you know, I stay in touch with many of them. So, you know, it's not like we haven't been in contact. So it was nice. It was really, really nice. What's that great saying? You eat in your 40s what you slay in your 20s.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So no pun intended, slay. But so it was really great to see them. And, you know, I think the show resonates because it was written so masterfully by Joss Whedon. Mm-hmm. These days, when I go back and watch an episode of the show, I'll see it and I'll be like, oh my God, that's what that episode was about. Right. It was so layered and so intricate about different aspects of growing up, becoming an adult, responsibility, redemption, all of those things. So I think it's got layers of meaning, and I think that's why it survives after all this time.
I love that. Deathlock.
Yes.
So this was the first Black superhero on screen, right? Like
on network television.
Yeah, on network television, because it wasn't a black character in the comics, right? It was
Well, there's 3 versions of the character in the comics, and
okay.
one of them is black, but 2 of
Okay.
them are white. Yes.
Wow. So
Yeah.
what was that experience like? And did you know that going in that you were gonna make history with this role?
I didn't even know what role I was playing when I booked the role. I booked the
Wow.
role of this down on his luck single father
Uh-huh.
who gets tied in with these bad guys who give him this experimental treatment for his back that gives him this incredible strength. Um, so I was just playing a man. I was just playing a father. That's all I knew that I was doing. And it was only for 1 episode because we were doing the pilot, and you never know if the show is going to get picked up or not. So I just assumed that I was one and done. And then, it was going so great. The pilot was going really well. I was so connected to the character. And someone whispered to me, during the pilot, like, if this show gets picked up, like, you'll be back and you'll be doing something really cool. So I was actually in fittings for my costume before I even knew that I was being turned into a superhero. So I had no real consciousness while I was doing it of the impact of it. There have been black superheroes on television before. There was Blade, the TV series that was on cable television, and 1 or 2 more that escape me right now. But yes, as far as network television, the big 3 or 4 at the time, 4 now. Yes, I was the first one, so it was pretty dope. Yeah.
Well, you're dope. I mean,
thank you.
Pretty,
You're
pretty
dope.
amazing.
You're dope.
Thank you. Okay, and so look, 11-time Emmy-nominated Giants web series that also went to Clio TV. So it started out on YouTube, but then it ended up on Clio. Yes. A coming of adulthood series that followed 3 black millennials in LA living in Koreatown. That's where I live, in Koreatown.
You live in Koreatown now?
Yes.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
So,
I don't know why I didn't think you were in LA. I thought you were in Atlanta because that's where we met. Okay.
No. We met here in Pasadena.
That was in Pasadena. That's right. They all blur together because we did Pasadena at the same time we did, or very close to when we did Atlanta.
Yeah.
My bad.
No, you're good. So how did you get involved in this project, Jay? Because you started it, wrote, directed. Tell us a little bit about this series. I love the series, by the way. How did you get involved in it?
Thank you. I wouldn't say I starred in it. I was a guest star on it. My buddy James Bland, one of my best friends in the world, decided that he didn't want to wait anymore for Hollywood. He's so multi-talented. He's an incredible writer, director, actor. And he just got to a point in his life and his career where he was like, I don't want to wait for someone to approve of my vision. So he started working on this show by himself. He wrote every episode, directed most of the episodes, season 1. Will Catlett directed 2, and starred in the show and edited and everything. So the first season, just, on our friendship, I would read the scripts, watch episodes, watch cuts, give notes, give my opinion. And then at the end of the season, he ended up giving me a consulting producer credit. And I was like, oh, that was nice. That was cool. The show did so well that season 2, because he's a genius at finance and putting together a team with CJ Faison and Takara Joseph coming on as producers, he put together a writer's room and a directing staff. And so I ended up joining the writer's room now, and I ended up writing 2 episodes and contributing to the season. And then I ended up directing the first 2 episodes as well. All of this, just a labor of love, a group of friends coming together to help another friend's vision, just being of service to a friend that we love and trust and want to see the best happen for him. And boom, we get 11 Emmy nominations. No one could have seen that coming, perhaps, but James, because he's just really smart like that, and really plans things through. So yeah, it was just it was a mind-blowing experience. I was like, who knew I would get my first Emmy nominations just being of service to a friend? You know what I mean? So that was pretty special.
Jay, I like that, what you just said about being of service. I think that's important to say, because a lot of people will feel like, oh, if it's not a check attached to it, or, I'm not doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I like how you said that. I'm not saying necessarily you did it for free, but I'm saying you were of service to your friend. Just simply like, hey, here's what I think, or here's what, my advice would be, and look what happens. I mean, I think that's beautiful.
I think that's the key. I think that's the key to everything is, I don't know why I'm going to quote this, but it's on my mind. There's a lyric by my favorite artist called Ani DeFranco, and she says, "The world owes me nothing. We owe each other the world."
Right.
And that's what Council of Dads is about too. It's about showing up and being of service, and that's where all your blessings lie, being of service. I'm working with someone right now who the only reason that he's in my consciousness is because he volunteered to be of service on Giants. And so everyone got to see the beauty of what he has to offer. And as a result, we are now working together. You know what I mean?
I love that.
That's the key. Most people aren't willing to do that.
That's true. Now let's get into my favorite news show of all time, Council of Dads.
I'm so glad you like it.
I'm so excited about this show. I really am. I feel like right now, especially with everything that's going on, everybody's kind of at home. Well, some people are starting to get out, but for the most part, people are at home. And I think it's such a timely TV show for families to gather around and watch it and get something from it.
Yes.
You played Dr. Oliver Post, Ollie, as Robin calls you.
Yes.
And you and Robin are best friends on the show. Why do you think people will want to tune into this show?
Well, number one, I think because it's entertaining. I think it's also deeply moving on a soulful level. I think it's, watching these characters attempt to fill the shoes and the space of this father who is left behind is a challenge that presents a lot of obstacles within each character and also just with reaching the children and being there for them. But, I personally think it's an entertaining show because it's just there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on, and we dramatize things that aren't ordinarily dramatized. I mean, our show has its own flavor, just like the city of Savannah, which has got a lot of history and mystery and vibe. And there's something underneath the surface in Savannah. And that's what our show is like. It's like the drama is like an undertow that pulls you in subtly and softly. So I think that's why people will like it, and hopefully it will inspire them to show up for their family and friends in a new and real way as well.
This family dynamic is not necessarily different, if you will, given the times that we're in, but it's different in the fact that everybody isn't related. It's almost like a chosen family, if you will. What will Council teach viewers about family? Maybe a new way of family or just family in general? What will this show teach us about it?
That family is only limited by your capacity to love. Mm-hmm. I don't know about you, but there are so many people in my family that I'm not related to. I think of my godfather. There are people in my family that were referred to as aunts and uncles, cousins, that I'm only as an adult realizing that we're not actually related. But guess what? You're never going to tell me they're not my family. Mm-hmm. That's just what it is, man. That's what it is. That's the beauty of this experience that we're in life, is that it's really about what you choose, and your choice becomes your reality.
Right. Exactly. Jay, so this show is such an important show, right?
Yes.
Such an important show that it inspired you to come out publicly with an announcement, right?
Yes.
This isn't the first show, though, that you played a gay character, if you
Right. That's
so
right.
what is it specifically about Council of Dads and this moment that said to you, or that spoke to you that said, okay, this is my time to come out and share my truth?
Because with this show, I was invited to contribute to the character in a way that I've never been asked to contribute before. So what started the whole ball rolling was I needed the producers and the writers to understand and know that my contribution was coming from a place of experience. So I had to qualify myself to those that I work with. Also, I was moving to a new city to play this character. It's a very big character in the piece. And also, just as a human being, I didn't want any walls between me and the people that I was working with. I wanted as an artist to be able to create from a real level without having to watch myself, control myself, censor myself, or feel like I was being false in any way.
Right.
So that's it. This has all really been inspired from a place of like doing the work. So then when it came time to talk about the show publicly,
Mm-hmm.
I was not going to put myself in a situation where I could not speak freely about it. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
It's important because for other folks to be able to see this character and understand what it means,
Mm-hmm.
again, it boiled down to being of service. I felt like I was being asked to be of service, to be able to talk about the character from a very real perspective in the same way that we created the character. So I just felt like all roads were leading to this moment for me to be able to have this conversation and share this part of my life, which, you know, everyone who needed to know knew in my
Right.
life,
Right.
but this was a choice that I made to open myself up to others in order to just help in some little small way. So I just felt like it was important to talk about, and that's why I chose to.
Right. You've received an outpouring of love and support from people. People are
Truly.
rallying around you for coming out. Do you feel at peace now that you come out publicly? So your immediate people, family or friends knew, but now the world knows. Do you feel at peace now?
Um, that's an interesting way. I feel aligned.
I love it.
That's the word I would choose.
I
I
love
feel
it.
like, yeah, I feel like just so clear within myself about my purpose. Um, so peace is a part of that, but I think a stronger feeling is that I feel really in alignment in all capacities of my life.
I
Yeah,
love that.
yeah.
Jay, what is your hope going forward with this? Do you feel like now you will use your story in which, you know, over the years, I'm sure you may have felt at moments that you wanted to come forward, but you didn't. Do you feel like now that you have and people see you on TV, they know who you are, you're on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you're on all these shows, do you feel like now you coming out will help them, and is that your purpose going forward, your alignment going forward, helping other people?
You know, coming out has made my purpose even more clear to me, which I always knew, but now I feel like I'm in fifth gear with it. My purpose in life is equality for all. And I'm talking about groups that I belong to and groups that I don't belong to. That's what I was sent here for. It's not just about this group because I belong to it or that group because I belong to it.
Right.
My purpose in life is freedom and equality for all. That's what I'm sold out to. And you asked me about my plan. I have given it over to God. I've surrendered my life to his plan for me. You know what I'm saying? So that's just what it is. So, you know, so much of my career, I've been really in tune with the representation of Black men in media. And that is still my same mission. You know,
Right.
this is a part of the Black male experience. I don't know what the future holds, you know, but I just want to continue to play really complicated, interesting characters. You know, it's so funny in a lot of ways how we boil characters down sometimes to gay and straight, but there are a lot of characters. There's a lot of things like, you know, I want to play the Joker. Is he gay? Is he straight? I don't know what he is. But the thing is, I want to continue to explore my craft in a variety of ways. And I'm just open. I've surrendered to what the universe has for me. So that's how I feel.
I love this. Jay, on the show, we've talked about the writer's room and it being diverse, right? Because
Yes.
on the show, there's the little girl, JJ, she's trans.
A trans boy. Yes,
Yes.
he is a trans boy.
Talk to us about when you decided to come out to the producers and everybody. Were you able to then go to the writer's room and be vocal with the suggestions as it relates to your character and how, you know, Oliver would, you know, be with his spouse or what he would have in his home and how he would react to certain situations.
Yes, that's how I did it, and that is why I did it. So before we even started, for the first time in my career, I was invited into the writer's room, as were all of my castmates. And we had private meetings with the writers to discuss, you know, just to get to know one another, but also to discuss like our take on the character and to discuss where we'd like to see the character go.
Right.
You know, we'd relate our personal stories and all of these things. So that was really the Rubicon for me, if you will. The Rubicon meaning the point of no return, the moment you cross over into a new place in your life. I realized that I could not take that meeting and have it be the best meeting without telling them, you know, who I was.
Right.
So yeah, that was the moment. So I went into the writer's room. I met all the writers at the same time, and I told them, you know, from my experience, this is what I see. You know, this is my story. This is where my story is the same. This is where my story is different. And you know, together they put those things together, and then like episodes down the road, you'd read something, you'd be like, oh my God, I said that was
right.
me. But then there are a lot of aspects of the character that are not me, and it was, you know, I'm definitely still playing a character with Oliver. I'm not playing myself,
Exactly.
which is a weird mistake that is so prevalent in the culture that it's like, if your character's gay, you're playing yourself.
Right.
No, I'm playing a totally separate guy. I've never played football in my life. My character's a former football player. I'm not married. I don't have kids. I'm not a surgeon. And
which
all of these.
You break that dialect down really well, I must say. You sound like a real surgeon on the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You know, and the key to that is just to know exactly what you're talking about. So that's where the research comes in. So yeah.
Yes. So Jay, okay, so episode 3 this Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
What can viewers expect from this episode? Give us a little tea, spill the beans a little bit.
Yes. Well, as you know, we discovered in the last episode that, you know, Luli's father might not be who she thought it was. So that is one thing that we get a little more deep into. We come home again with Oliver and Peter. We start to understand the dynamics of their marriage and their family. And Oliver takes one of the kids under his wing and shows him something that is incredibly important to him, which is football. Oliver's obsessed with sports. He's a former football player. So I end up teaching one of the kids how to play football.
I love it. Jay,
yes.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited for this show, and I'm excited for you. Congratulations. Thank you for being an inspiration to us all. And we'll be watching on Thursday.
Ashley, thank you so much for sharing your platform with me. It was so nice to see you as always. You are a lovely human being, and I'm just so happy we got to connect.
Thank you so much, Jay. I appreciate it. See you later.
Have a great day.
Bye.
All right, bye-bye.